All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you all having a great start to your week. Decided to do something a little bit different this week. Normally, when I make a video, I think of a topic and then I'll have not a script per se, but I'll have made up a bullet list of just different things I want to talk about to keep me on task and make sure I'm hitting the main points that I want to. But today I decided that I'm just going to have an idea of what I want to talk about and just sort of let the conversation go where it does and not worry too much about, whether I hit the points or not or whatever. Just kind of see where things take me. Just flipping the script, man. Just trying something new, getting experimental. I'm sitting down. I'm on the floor right now, just, feeling a little bit more casual and this is just feeling right now instead of doing my usual thing, just good to mix it up once in a while. So the thing I wanted to talk about today was this idea of personal branding, particularly, how it relates to, my job as a voice actor, and also how personal branding can be a really profound exercise, more so than you might think just going into it. So this topic first came to mind. I was meeting with a group of other entrepreneurs who I meet with regularly on Monday. Just a couple friends I know also running businesses, so we just meet together, talk shop, ask questions. And one of the things that I had brought up is that, as a voice actor or anyone in a similar creative sort of line of work, like as a YouTuber or an influencer or, a musician, where yourself, the individual, are very much like the face of your brand, of your product, of the service that you provide. I just was talking about how going down this personal branding exercise can really be a very profound journey of self-discovery. And it's really interesting because you wouldn't necessarily think about that from the outside when you're just thinking, okay, what does my logo look like? How do I make myself stand out against the market? And you don't necessarily realize that could be, a profound, even like spiritual or quasi-religious experience. So personal branding. Like I said, for more creative lines of work, that really comes into play because, there are, thousands of people of other voice actors who can do what I technically do, who can technically do what I do. And, some are better, some are worse, different strengths and weaknesses, whatever. But the thing that really makes you stand out in that kind of an environment, whatever line of work you're doing, applies a lot to different kind of creative fields like mine, is what is your unique flavor? What makes you you? What's your style? What's your temperament? What makes Glenn an individual? Not just is Glenn a better or worse voice actor than the next guy or charge more or less than somebody else, but what makes you you? What is your flavor? What is your style? And that's the sort of thing that when you get into, putting yourself out there, that's what people really latch on to, especially in this age of, social media, where there's just so much content going out there and just so many opportunities to really express that kind of stuff and explore that area. And it's funny, like as a result of, working on personal branding stuff and really thinking about, what I want my brand to be, it's taken me on this journey where I've explored elements of myself that I might not have explored otherwise if I hadn't done that. And it's curious that I had to, get to this point before I started finding out some of the things about myself that I did. So about 3 years ago when I started voice acting, I got on a website called gravyforthebrain.com. It's a big voiceover training resource website, which, by the way, if you're big into voice acting or you're just starting out voice acting, great initial resource. Cover a lot of basics, a lot of great information there. But one of the courses that they have on their membership site is about personal branding, but also just the business side of voice acting as opposed to just, the acting performance side. And one of the first things they do is they give you a bunch of questions to ask yourself where you think like, okay, when it comes to developing a personal brand, what are you about? What really drives you? What are your goals? What's your outlook on life? Not just what are you good at and what are you not good at, but what do you care about? What really makes you passionate? What's it like to have a conversation with you? And, it took me through some of these tests and exercises where I was just really looking into parts of myself that I hadn't really been super sensitive to. One of the first things I did was I took an online test for the Myers-Briggs battery, which is a psychology personality test, INFJ, by the way. Might talk about that some more later. So I was really into that test, and some of the things that it talked about, and that even in and of itself, taught me a lot about my temperament and just explaining, like why I struggle with certain things that I do and why I tend to think about things in the way that I do and the perspective that I have. And it's just really cool how it can be such something that starts as just a way to make your brand stand out in a competitive environment to make money, can also just be this really big soul searching exercise where it's like the more it becomes about ultimately more, it takes you on a journey that's ultimately so much more than about just being a great voice actor or having financial success in whatever industry that you're in, but it really takes you on this journey of like, what are you really about? What do you want your life to look like? What's really important to you? And makes you start even questioning, like, what am I doing now in my life that isn't in congruence with what I would like my life to do? And you start looking at, some of the habits that you have and things that maybe aren't serving me as well as I would like to, or you start looking at things that maybe you've been doing for a while, but you're not super crazy about it, or maybe you're only doing it because you're insecure about something, or it's a bad habit. And you start taking a real hard look at some of those things and realizing like, hey, maybe you're in a place where your life is like 95% not in line with how you want it to be. And you start taking a look at it and you don't even realize it until you actually slow down, take a step back from life and start taking a look at some of these things. You're like, oh shoot, man, I have this idea for this kind of person that I am. And I know that I have these drives and passions and my life's just not getting me there. And it really puts you on this, it's really the impetus to start making some of those changes. And it was just been a wild revelation for me. I didn't realize getting into voiceover when I first started off, because I just I like acting, I like making character voices. I like doing that kind of stuff. I like a lot of the mediums. I love movies. I love great TV shows and video games that just have great stories and characters. And I didn't realize that by going down this journey of, being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, that I would also have so many of the more like, deeper spiritual ramifications to it. Another thing that I thought about as I was sort of getting my mind prepared for this conversation is that it very much reminds me of like, if you ever read any kind of like addiction recovery literature, like you look at some of the Alcoholics Anonymous books out there. I used to do work for an Alcoholics Anonymous podcast, so I became kind of familiar with some of that work. Of course, I've also, I've dealt with a bit of different problems of addiction in my own life. Maybe I'll talk about more about that in another video. But one of the big takeaways that I got from my own journey and just from a lot of the literature that I read is that it's not just about this recovery journey, getting, over your addiction, getting those habits out of your life. It's not just about taking the thing that you don't want to do and not doing it and then going on to live your life completely the same without that thing in your life. It's like, especially the deeper the addiction, the longer it is, the more profound it is. It's like, it's not just about, stopping doing that thing in the same way you would stop, like, in the same way you would learn to like make your bed in the morning or, stop eating cookies. It really takes you on this journey where if you're going to really conquer this thing, you've got to be a different person than you were before. You've got to do the real deep work and decide like, I need to orient my life in a different way. I need to be a different kind of person. I need to be the sort of person who the life I'm living is completely incongruent with the addiction that was holding me back. And there's just no place for any scent of that in the life that I'm leaving. And it just puts you on this path where you have to live for this, just a much higher calling than you ever did before. And you don't really realize that from the outset. I mean, you think like, I want to get rid of alcohol. I want to get rid of porn. I want to get rid of marijuana or whatever it is, you struggle with. And you think like, okay, I just want to get that out of my life so I can, go back to being me without having this thing that's shackling me down. And you realize that you end up getting a lot more than you bargained for when you go on some of those journeys. And, tying that back into personal branding. I mean, when you start really thinking about, okay, how do I build a business that's uniquely me, that's incongruent with my values and what I can bring to the world and what I want my life to look like? And all of a sudden you start asking some really profound questions and you start getting into places that you might never have gotten to otherwise. And it's just really cool. So anybody out there who, if you just got a Facebook message, if you've got a business you're working on, or, you're trying to be a YouTuber, you're trying to be a voice actor, or whatever you're doing, just if you're a human being who wants to have a better relationship with yourself, I would really challenge you to start asking some of these questions and stuff. It might really open you up to a lot of things that you'd never thought about before, and could really take you on a lot of paths in your life that you might have never thought about going on. And I can almost guarantee you, no, I will guarantee you that a great deal of it could lead to the best journey you've ever had in your life. Take that to the bank. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got for today. Maybe I'll dive into this some more sometime later in a video. Still very much feeling out what it means to make a YouTube channel. That's also part of the personal branding thing, is maybe Glenn's the introspective voice actor, maybe I'm the kind of guy who's he's a voice actor and he's performs, but he also has he's got thoughts about life, and he's relatable, and he's got this kind of stuff going on. So it's a journey. You're always learning and uncovering new things, and this YouTube channel has definitely been a big part of me, continuing on that journey. So as always, appreciate any and all of you who are tuning in. I love you guys so much. I love making these videos. I love getting feedback on the videos, and I love you all. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Once again, I will be back here again in a week from now. And yeah, get out there, learn something about yourself, go provide some value to the world, smile, live a life, all that good stuff. All right. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day. Take care.